Now, let me say this about Danmachi this season, guys. The show is doing a fantastic job of really hammering it home. Like, nah, you're gonna feel despair in this season. Like, holy crap, man. In this episode alone, we got that opening again that we got last week. The very dramatic omen being presented to us by Cassandra. And we got it extended this time. And we really see just how messed up everyone got. And they are really hammering home the fact that no, people are gonna die, dude. And it's kind of wild, actually. I never thought this show would take a turn like this, but I've very much been enjoying Danmachi recently. I really have. I've been enjoying it a lot, actually. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Actually, no, before we do that, I don't normally do this. Let me say one thing. I feel that Cassandra's kind of screwed herself in a way. Because how I feel is that she's spending so much time working to try to prevent this premonition of hers that I feel like she's making it happen. I think one of the dumbest things that's happened so far is the fact that she allowed Belle to go off on his own. That, to me, the second that happened last week, I started to think like, oh, the premonition's definitely going to happen. It's going to happen for sure. Because in the premonition, everyone's dead, but Belle's not there. The only two people that aren't there are Belle and Cassandra. And now that they're separated, all the conditions have been met for that premonition. But we can talk about that a little bit later. Let's get into it and talk about Danmachi Season 4, Episode 8 today. So our episode this week begins with Belle and his expedition team with boars and all of them going through the dungeon still looking for Ryu. And now they haven't really found anything. But Belle is very handedly proving that he can handle this floor. Everyone there is kind of shocked, like, yo, this is your first time on this floor, right? Like, you are kind of kicking ass, dude. They even basically put him in charge of the expedition because he's the strongest one here. And things are going good so far, but Belle still is trying to look for Ryu no matter what. That is still his number one priority. He even meets up with some adventurers from Season 1, actually, that helped him fight the Goliath. And they start talking with each other. Talking about Ryu. And Belle asks, like, she had to have a good reason for wiping out her familia, right? Or wiping out the familia that took out her familia, right? And they said, yeah, they were a part of Evilists, actually. A bunch of twisted bastards. Now, I've never heard of Evilists, but by a name like that, I can tell they're not good guys, obviously. And they start explaining that, yeah, she had a good reason, but she also killed the people that were even a little bit associated with them, or knew them even a bit. And you gotta be a twisted person to do that. And this whole time, more and more doubts are building up in Belle's head. Now, Belle, during this whole time, is just waiting for a chance to ditch these guys so he can go look for Ryu on his own. That's his goal right now. He's not going to be able to really get to the bottom of what's going on with these guys around attacking her, obviously. So he's trying to find an opening to ditch them. And it's here that they stumble upon this giant hole, actually, that's in the ceiling of the dungeon. And how no one there who has been on these floors countless times knows what the hell it is. They're like, I've never seen anything like this on this floor. Like, what is going on here? And they think there's no way this could have been the Gale Wind. Magic couldn't have done something like this. Like, what kind of creature is down here? Really, like, kind of amping this up even more, making me excited, like, yo, come on, show me the creature already, let's go. But it's very unnerving. They're building it up quite well. And it's here as they're gawking at the hole that Belle and everyone starts hearing singing. And Belle recognizes it instantly, because it's Mari. So everyone's like, what the hell is that going on? So Belle immediately rushes off on his own to go meet with her. To go see, like, yo, what is going on down here? And it's here that we transition back to Team Hestia, actually, and they are keeping a very watchful eye on Turk, the guy that was instigating things in our previous episode. And they're keeping an eye on him, and they start discussing him a bit. How he came to Rivera, which is the 18th floor resort, I would say resort, but rest area, basically. about 3 years ago, and because of that, he's gained a bit of trust, and that he's been down to these floors multiple times as parts of other people's party. And it's revealed in this instance that Belle asked Aisha to actually stay down with the group so she could keep an eye on this Turk guy. Because while they do have some strong members in Team Hestia right now, having Aisha there, who is stronger than everyone else, is very reassuring. She could easily take this guy down, especially since they revealed that he's only level 2. So that's why Belle asked her to stay behind, actually. So Team Hestia is actually trying to figure out what to do. Like, how we need to get this guy and question him about what's going on. And Aisha just flat out says, yo, let's just attack him. Let's just take him out. We're wasting time sitting here. Let's take him out. Obviously, they disagree because that'd make everyone else their enemy right now. That's not the choice they need to make right now. So Aisha just gets up and says, yo, let me go bring him to another room and shag it out of him. And I'm just like, whoa, hey. Amazons, man, they're kind of wild. But alas, that does not happen. That's a different version of Danmachi. And it's here that the Turk guy actually flat out just starts inciting people yet again, saying, yo, we can't just sit here. We need to go after her ourselves. Trying to incite them by saying, you don't want to have your shot at a big bounty? What are you, a freaking baby? Trying to get people to rally behind him. Because he's clearly up to something. And so he actually goes off on his own with a couple other guys. And Team Hestia decide that it'd be a good idea to tag along with him to see what happens. So they go do that. And it's here that we transition to Belle actually meeting up with Mari. And she's shook, actually. Like, she is kind of scared. And Belle asks her, like, what's going on? And she tells him that there's something down here that shouldn't be down here. Something terrible is down here. Again, building it up more and more. And it's here that Belle asks Mari, like, have you seen an elf around here? I really need to find her no matter what. And Mari's really hesitant to tell Belle about her, but she reluctantly does agree to take him to Belle, or take Belle to her. Words are hard. And they go looking, and they find her fairly easily, and it's a sight, guys. She's literally over a guy's body after torturing him, and she's like a completely different person than she is before. You can see the hatred in her eyes and face as she literally clears the blood off of her blade from this guy as she says, why are you, of all people, here, to Belle? Belle is shook at what he's seeing. He can't believe that this is the same person he's known for this long already. And he tries to ask her what's going on, and she snaps at him, saying, just be quiet and do what I say. Like, again, a completely different person at this point. Belle is shook. She tells him not to follow her, and she runs off on her own. And Belle is just standing there, like, he's shocked. He doesn't know how to react to this situation. It's here we transition back to Team Hestia, and they're following Turk around. And Turk is very on edge around them. He clearly seems nervous that they're following him. Like, clearly showing he's up to no good. So they know they're doing a good thing by following him. And it's here that we see Cassandra starting to have doubts, like, maybe I should have told Belle, like, about my premonition. Maybe I should have given him some details. As she remembers back to him saying he's putting his faith in Ryu. And her not doing that makes her think that he might be betrayed by someone he trusts in this situation. It's a crazy situation. But we come back to Belle after that, and Belle is still shocked. Mari has to shake him out of it in this situation. And Belle runs over to this guy, but he realizes there's no point in treating him with the potion he has on him. So he actually carries him on his back and chases after Ryu and tells Mari not to follow him. I mean, she's in water. She kind of can't, to be fair, but... And if I'm Belle, I'm thinking, yo, leave this guy. Leave him. I ain't that chivalrous. Leave this guy. I ain't carrying his ass. And it's here that Belle meets back up with his expedition crew that he came down with. And he stumbles upon, along with them, like a bunch of wiped out people. Everyone is dead. They come across a whole wiped out group of people. And they're all shook because they believe it's Ryu that did it. And it probably is. And Belle doesn't know what to say in this instance. He's having a hard time coming to grips with this situation. And they actually stumble upon someone who's still alive, albeit barely, missing an arm, missing an ear, cut all to hell. And he is traumatized about it, swearing that it was the Gale Wind, even calling her by name, Leon, in this situation, showing that he has personal connections to her. And this guy won't let anyone treat him. He is traumatized. But then Boris realizes, wait a minute, aren't you Juri Halmer? Aren't you a wanted man? And he reveals that, yeah, he was a part of the Rudra Familia, which is a part of Evilis, which is the group that wiped out the Astria Familia that Ryu was part of. I almost said... Anyway. Yeah, and he's like, this guy's a twisted fuck himself. This guy swears that he's on the straight and narrow nowadays, and he's begging them for help. Like, please, please help me, guys. But Boris, I kind of like Boris to an extent. He's like, you know, our mission hasn't changed. We still got to go after the Gale Wind. This guy being like this doesn't change anything. In fact, we're going to get double the reward for sending his evil ass to the guild as well. I kind of like that mindset. Don't help this sick fuck. He certainly isn't good anymore. And they decide to do that. But Belle, all of a sudden, sees something out the corner of his eye. He sees what looks to be like a crystal on the ground, actually. Very interesting. And he picks it up and is kind of intrigued by it. I'm kind of curious, too. Like, this thing is definitely going to hold some significance. But it's here that Ryu actually jumps their party. Like, takes them out because Juri's there. Her whole goal is to kill this guy once and for all. And even if that involves clearing out this team, because she makes short work of them. They are like chumps compared to her. No one can stand up to her. And Belle is just looking on kind of horrified, like, what is going on? And Boris is even about to fight her, but then he realizes, like, wait a minute. Weren't you on the 18th floor with us in Season 1 fighting the Goliath? What are you doing here? He's kind of shook and he deliberately doesn't attack her. And she uses that opening to take him out. And it's here that Ryu actually confronts Belle a bit. And you can see the conflict on her face, actually. Belle tells her, stop, wait a minute, let's talk this out first. But she still says, you're in my way, and jumps over him to go after Juri, who ran off. So Belle actually chases after them. And while he's chasing after them, he's thinking, like, could she really be a murderer? Could she really do something like this? And he starts thinking, but if this guy really was a part of the Familia that killed hers, and we get a flashback to Season 1, where she even explained to Belle then that, you know, I did whatever it took to kill all of them. Doesn't matter how long it took or what methods I had to use. I took them all. My fury is what drove me. And Belle is really starting to have doubts now. And all of a sudden he sees this giant blast of magic blast a hole in the wall. And he recognizes that as Ryu. So he actually goes in there and he sees Juri in there on the ground, begging for Belle to help him. And it's here that we see Ryu confront Belle and Juri one more time. And Belle is begging her to explain what's going on. And she just says, like, why are you always involved in all this? He is probably the last person that she wanted to be here and see her like this. So it must be hurting her a bit. But that doesn't stop her from doing what she's doing. And she goes on this little monologue about how the one thing she regrets in her life is letting scum like Juri survive. She'll never live that regret down the rest of her life. And at this point, she even points her sword at Belle and says, I'll even cut you down if you get in my way. And it's at this point that Belle is just absolutely floored. And that's how our episode ends. And guys, they're doing a really good job building this up. But I gotta say, yet again, I feel like tragedy is going to happen. It's almost inevitable at this point. The fact that they split up, to me, just guarantees that tragedy is going to happen. It just does. I can't shake that feeling that Cassandra's attempts to try to avoid this are going to cause it to happen in the first place. You see that all the time in a bunch of different media, that's absolutely what's going to happen. And they're just doing a phenomenal job of building the tension up each week, actually. I'm pretty surprised, honestly. They're doing a very good job. You guys let me know what you thought about this episode, and honestly, what you think about this little arc that we're on right now, too. It's much darker than we usually get from this show, and I'm a fan of it, honestly. I'm really looking forward to this. So you guys let me know what you think of it down below. And yeah, guys, I'm catching up on the light novel. I'm not up to here yet, but I'm about halfway through the Xenos arc, and it's very good in the book. I think it's better than the anime, personally. So I'm really looking forward to getting to this arc. But until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And just smile, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.